Here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts.
Hey, movie lovers, I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson. We are the hosts of the Next Reel Film Podcast.
If you're passionate about films like we are, you'll love our show. Each week, we dive deep into a movie, discussing everything from the story and performances to the cinematography and score.
Not to mention budgets and awards. We have covered iconic series like Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather trilogy, examining themes of power, family, and the dark side of the American dream.
We've explored the works of groundbreaking directors like Catherine Bigelow, discussing her mastery of tension.
We've looked at heist films, great car chases, great years in film, couples on the run, and more.
Our discussions go beyond the surface, examining what makes each film tick. We believe that when the movie ends, the conversation begins.
And we'd love for you to join that conversation. Find the Next Reel Film Podcast on your favorite podcast app or at thenextreel.com.
The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
Coming up on The Devil's Details, don't insult the Minotaur's sister. Dante's Inferno, Part 3. Good morning, Star Lovelies, and welcome to another episode of The Devil's Details, a show where we dig up, decipher, dissect, and deconstruct the many forms of the devil. One of my names is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I sometimes go by Kynan Diaz.
And we're just two lost souls hitchhiking down the highway to hell. And just a reminder, today's episode was originally recorded as bonus content for our first podcast, The Exorcist Minute, so I think we should hand it over. Take it away, past Lester and Kynan. Yes, folks, welcome back to hell, or Inferno, or Inferno, as Dante calls it. Yes, we are continuing our buddy comedy road trip, our divine buddy comedy road trip through hell. I thought that would be funnier, Kynan. I thought you would at least give me a pity laugh. Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you very much. You'll remember, folks, we started out with Dante literally going through a midlife crisis at 45.
35.
35. As he wanders through some woods and comes to the edge of a mountain which he tries to ascend, but his way is blocked by a panther.
Or a leopard.
Or a leopard, a lion, and a she-wolf. He runs down the mountain and bumps into Virgil, who says he was sent by Dante's lifelong, unrequited crush Beatrice up in heaven to guide Dante through hell, purgatory, and finally heaven. From there we descend, entering upon the first circle of hell, which is called Limbo.
Feel that limbo beat.
Yes. Can you feel the limbo beat? If you can, your soul is already in danger. No, it's too late.
Yeah, once you hear that music, there's no going back.
No. The gravity will pull you down the rest of the way. Yes. How low can we go, folks? I was wondering when we would use that, but yeah. Folks, if you thought we were not low enough to use that, well, haha. Wherein we meet the, quote, noble pagans, of which Virgil himself is included. After this, we go down, we enter, now that, okay, none of these words are appropriate.
We penetrate.
We penetrate the circle of lust.
Together.
Wherein we meet Francesca and Paolo, doomed to be swept to and fro by the winds of their desire. We then enter the third circle, which is gluttony, where the goodest boy Cerberus resides, guarding all the gluttons with his fearsome bark. Who's got a fearsome bark? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I got to say it 3 times. After this, we descend further into the fourth circle reserved for the wrathful, as they fight each other whilst mired in the river Styx, which is here a river of filth or shit, and also reserved for the slothful, who gurgle and bubble underneath the poopy surface. I tried to find a better adjective for shit, folks, but... we then enter the sixth... The fecal surface. Okay, well, let's just redo that whole thing. The fecal surface. Right? Yes. We then enter the sixth circle reserved for heretics. And folks, if you'll remember, we had just gained access to Dis.
To what?
No, the city of Dis.
The city of what?
No, Dis is what Dante calls the city in hell.
So what does he call it?
I just told you.
No, you didn't. You said Dis is the name of the city.
Right.
So what is it?
You just said it.
Said what?
The name of the city.
Which is what?
Which is Dis. Third circle.
That's Dante and Virgil on the boat, and Akron is just like, oh my god. But no, folks. So last time, a heavenly messenger came down and ordered the fallen angels to open the gates of the city for our boys, and then walked back across the river, as Dante puts it, in a distracted manner, as one who has like many thoughts on their mind. To which I take it to mean they were just like grumbling all the way. It's like, what's the frickin' I gotta go all the way down here? It's like, you know, they don't send Gabriel. They got to send. Well, we never decided who this angel was. Like what?
Right.
Let's give him a name.
Wait, so we've done Gabriel, we've done Michael, we've done, has to have an EL at the end, I imagine, right? So.
Yeah. Well, maybe he doesn't. Maybe that's why he's sent down, because he's not one of the L's.
All right, his name's Kayden.
Kayden.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Kayden. Kayden the Angel, right? Yeah. But yeah, so Kayden's walking back across hell, and he's just like, oh, look at me, I'm Gabriel. Right. Yeah, but even on the way, he gives Cerberus a little pat. He's like,
he's good.
Love you, Cerberus. Yeah, because nobody can be angry at Cerberus. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
If you are, he'll eat you 3 times.
3 times. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah. So we are in the. Oh God, this is my hell. Okay, we 9th canto. This is the end of the 9th canto, and we are still in the 6th.
The 6th?
The 6th circle, which is heresy. And folks, I have found a handy-dandy map, which I will be sharing on the Facebook group so that all of you can keep track as well.
Yeah, I need this. This is from Infographica, is that right? And
yeah, I believe so.
Wonderful, yeah. It's very helpful because this is not the order of the circles I would put them in, obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I guess lust would be the least. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love lust. I think lust would be even higher, even lesser than being a noble pagan. Yeah.
Really? Oh wow.
Oh, yeah. Sure. What's wrong with lust?
hey, nobody's saying nothing wrong with lust. I mean, yeah.
If you found me here, I'd be in the I'd be a sort of a fence hugger between lust and gluttony. That's where I'd hang out and go back and forth.
Interesting.
That's my life.
And hugging the fence in the circle of lust is you're hugging it in a very specific way. I imagine.
Very specific.
Very suggestive. You said between lust and gluttony, so you're just chomping on a hamburger while you're doing it. I got it. Okay.
Absolutely. You know how you use a new workout machine you've never done, or there's some exercise, some stretch you've never done, and then the next day you have like, oh God, I didn't know that those muscles existed in me. You feel in those ways. Yeah. That's what I'm doing down there. You all can't even imagine how I'm holding this fence and eating these burgers.
I just Dante and Virgil are like, and this is the circle of lust, and you can see everybody's unhappy here. And so, what's that guy doing over there? No,
Right.
everybody is unhappy here. Just don't look that way. Nobody is having a good time. Kynan, stop it!
I just got my mouth full of French fries going, that limbo beat, limbo feet, happy never jockey stick, Jack go up the limbo stick.
And Dante's getting into it, and Virgil's got to like hit him. It's like, stop it!
It's to teach you a lesson.
Yes.
Yeah, this graphic is very helpful to remember and keep track. Yeah, because it's not like intuitive about the order necessarily.
No. But that actually, Kynan, this brings up a question. I was wondering where to put this. But how many people have only committed one sin?
That's right.
I mean, I am
Not
pretty
me.
good. I'm checking off these boxes. I'm looking at this map, and I was like, well, pieces of me will be here,
Right.
and then pieces of me will also be here.
I have been violent. I have been a fraud. I've been treacherous. I don't know if that's my main jam.
Is that what it is?
deserve
Like
there,
the one that you do the most or the worst deed? Because I imagine, like the treacherous are also gluttonous, but like maybe
Right, exactly. Yeah,
they're more treacherous than gluttonous, I guess.
This is like Hogwarts houses. That's what this is. That's all it is.
Oh God. How have we not done a which circle in hell do you belong in?
that must exist out there.
It has to.
BuzzFeed
right?
has probably already done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we haven't. I know we're still in the recap era. We haven't really gotten into any new territory yet. So this is probably. But I was thinking very hard about my 4 cats and which Hogwarts houses they would be. So I believe, and you haven't met my cat, so this must be riveting to you.
So I will take your word for it.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, but I think
we're going to get to hell, folks. We promise.
Maybe we'll see if we have time. My cat Peppermint is very shy and reserved, and she just is pretty chill to hang out with. She's a Ravenclaw, clearly.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. And my cat Caramel is the one who constantly moves toys back and forth, like he puts little piles together and then and then assembles them and then moves them into different rooms slowly throughout the day. So he's always working. He's a Gryffindor.
Okay.
And my oldest cat Bacon, he's a real bastard. He's too smart and he's a real son of a bitch. He's a Slytherin and. Oatmeal is a Hufflepuff, clearly.
Oh, wow. Well, there we go.
Are you a Gryffindor or Hufflepuff?
I am. Oh, me?
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a Slytherin because they just have the coolest look to them.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's what I wish I was a Slytherin. But
But and I actually like so working here at the school, all of the teachers we put our little Hogwarts crests on our doors. And my boss came in and he's like, Lester, how are you not a Gryffindor? And I'm like,
Right.
no, I'm a Slytherin. And he made me take the Pottermore test, and it came out Gryffindor.
Oh, okay, great. That's what I thought.
But actually, so you say Gryffindor because like I'm looking at it now, and people have been teasing me and being like, well, actually, I think you're a little bit more Hufflepuff, and I'm like, no, that's the worst one. But now, like okay, the older I have just reached the age of 40. And I'm looking at I'm reading Lord of the Rings with a kind of like a different mind, and I'm looking at Sam, and I'm like, I'm Sam. I thought as I wanted to be Aragorn, I wanted to be Sauron. But
you leave your wife and kids behind to help
no,
your buddy.
no, oh God,
no. That's Sam's thing. He's like, someone needs help, right? So my buddy needs help, so I'm going to leave my life behind, and the things that are important to me, I'm going to sacrifice of myself. Yeah. That's Sam. That's Hufflepuff.
Yeah. Incredibly loyal. Yeah.
Right.
It's the one that everyone forgets, but
No, yeah, I would think you were one of those, but yeah, I'd say Gryffindor.
Gryffindor? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Be a Grifflepuff. or a Huffledore. And no Slytherin at all, apparently. Wow, great.
Oh, yeah, I wish I was a Slytherin, but I'm a Ravenclaw. That's just
there we go. Yeah, I would say Ravenclaw for sure.
Yeah. But a lustful, gluttonous, limbo-y Ravenclaw.
I'm just saying, the Sorting Hat comes out. It's like, better be lust. Oh, God, get me off this guy's head. Oh, this guy's thoughts. Oh, geez.
Right, you wouldn't want to send someone to lust who asked to be sent there.
That's a good question. It's like, so we got King Minos down there, right?
Right.
And he wraps the tail around himself 2 times, and it's like, and you're going to be sent to lust, and he's like, ooh, yes, and it's like, no,
never mind.
This is terrible. Like, you're gonna be flung on this tumultuous wind with all these other naked never mind. Just 9th circle for you. Get in.
Exactly. Let's keep the lower half of you frozen in ice for all eternity.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
sorry, where are we? We're just trying to recap. Sorry about
that. Let's get back into hell. But yeah. So they enter the city of Dis, and it turns out. So they get like that was where we left off last episode. Was they were trying to get into the city, and the gates were closed, and these fallen angels were like taunting them at the on the walls of the city, and they get in. And it turns out it's just this massive graveyard. It just like rows and rows of open graves. And we see that like flames are coming out of these graves. And before the canto ends, Virgil tells us that these are the tombs of the heretics, right? With all their disciples and all their sects, right? Sects, not sects. That's circle 2. That's,
right.
But yeah. And it's here that they are condemned for all eternity, inside these burning tombs. So now we're getting into like, this is like hell proper, right? Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
This sounds awful. Like this combines 2 of my worst fears, right? Like, because I'm very claustrophobic, right? And ever since I was very young, I've had this horrible fear of like being buried alive, right? It sounds like like the worst thing in the world, right? And then, of course, being burned alive. Like, I don't think anybody is neutral about that, right? Like, I think that's a pretty scary thing, no matter who you are.
Right. I don't think people get buried alive very often anymore, but that used to happen enough that there was a small industry, at least in America and Europe, where they would equip your grave, with like alarms.
Yes.
Have you seen those? Yeah. Like they tie a string around your toe or something, and you'd be able to. And it did save like Not a lot of people, but enough that that made the news. In these local towns in the 1700s and 1800s, right? Where they're like, okay, well, that worked. Thank God we had this.
Yeah. I remember reading about that in one of the many kind of like spooky nonfiction books that I would pick up at my school library, and for some reason they were just like, a book about being buried alive. Let's put that in this. The kids will love this. And I remember seeing that little diagram, a little dead guy 6 feet below, and he's got a string attached to his toe, and there's a little bell on the top of the thing, right?
So right nowadays there's not as much risk of you being buried alive where they're taking you down there, but the risk would be in getting embalmed alive, right?
Yes.
So if you weren't dead by the time the mortician empties out all of your fluids and replaces them with embalming fluid, then yes, that would be when you die. So I guess we don't have a way of knowing how many times that has happened, and the morticians don't care at that point. They're getting their check.
Thank you, Kynan, for that. I see. That was one of the things that I remember that book saying. It's like, nowadays being buried alive never happens anymore because of embalming, and it was like, oh, thank God. But you have just awoken a new fear in me.
Oh yeah. What are you going to do at that point?
I mean, you can. I was like, I had always reasoned, like, it was like, well, like there's always a first, and also, how do they know? Like, I just, with my luck, folks, you just wait, right? The on Lester's burial day, right? If you listen real hard, you're gonna hear me wake up and be like, fuck. I guess I'm the first
who survived embalming and is
who survived embalming, or just like by sheer happenstance, right? Like, it's a series of like wrong decisions that lead to accidentally not embalming Lester, burying him prematurely, and then he wakes up, and there we go. And I'm gonna be like, well, I always knew this would happen.
Right. A thing that's interesting to me about like being burned alive in your grave as a heretic, right? Like, so far we've had this contrapasso idea, which is the ironic punishment. And so I wonder if that has something to do with it, right? Of like, you've been following the wrong religion, right? And you're not a Catholic, but you were going about your life in a way that, like, okay, you've lived your life in a way that's separate, and so you don't get to have these Catholic burial rites. We're going to strip you away from that, right?
Yeah. But like, all that to say, like, After that, I kind of like decided, it's like, all right, well, this is only one way to be absolutely sure that I'm not going to get buried alive, and that's cremation. But now, reading Dante, I'm like, being stuck in a box and being burned alive doesn't sound great either. So thanks, Dante. Like,
that would be a very narrow window, because if you're buried alive, you could wake up a day or two after, a week after you've been buried, right? But that's a pretty narrow window where they're cremating you. So that's very unlikely.
Yeah. But I mean, what I mean is, like, I wake up and it's like, well, this is happening. Like, I guess I'm gonna be cremated.
Right.
Versus, I wake up underground and I'm like, well, I just got to wait this out.
I didn't spring for the $20 for that tow bell thing.
That little tow belt, right? Yeah. Man, bring those tow bells back. Hey, we have phones now. Just bury me with my phone.
Right.
Fully charged, please. Right. And if you get a message from me a couple days after my funeral, please come and get me.
We'll see. Really busy. The kids have soccer that weekend.
Oh, what's this? Oh, a Facebook update from Lester. Help. I've been buried alive. Oh, like. Thoughts and prayers. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. No. He's a close friend. Love. The little hug emoji or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have a friend whose mother passed away now several years ago, and I got a Snapchat notification that, this person's mother is on Snapchat. Like, your contact, from your phone is on Snapchat. And so what it must be is that it's been long enough that phone number has been out of use, so they've given it to somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
But so it still came up as like, it's like your friend's dead mother is on Snapchat. Yeah. Do you want to connect with her? Oh. So I haven't told my friend that, because I don't know if they want to know that or not. But
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh dear. That's always a little bit like, because I am friends still on Facebook with pages that have become like memorial pages. Right. You know, and they're like kept around like out of memory for the people who passed. But and it's like every now and then you get a notification or like a message, and it's, you know, I mean, you can't help but feel just a little bit like, you know.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. But
from beyond the grave. Yeah. It's Annabelle Lee or Lenore, rather, from beyond the grave.
Yeah.
Lenore is tapping on your Facebook door.
Oh, God. 'Tis some friend request, I muttered. Only this and nothing more. Oh, God. Okay. Well, all right. Back to heretics burning in their tombs. Right?
Much funnier. There we go.
Yes. Yeah. So they're all trapped inside these burning tombs, right? And Virgil, I think actually the lids might be closed. Right. Reading it again. Yeah. So, but you can see like they're cracked just the slightest bit. Like these stone, like almost sarcophagus lids are cracked a little bit. And you can see the flames kind of poking out.
Yeah.
Right?
If you couldn't see that, then it would be pointless to do.
Yeah. Right.
Because the point is to scare people, other people.
So Virgil's like, trust me, they're on fire inside there. It's like, well, this is kind of like Schrodinger's heretics, isn't it? Because I'll just have to take your word for it, Virgil.
Yeah, you want to crack this one open? Take a look down there.
Yeah,
it'll be 10 lira.
Yeah, right. Oh, even in hell.
Hey, this is hell.
Everything. Hey, we gotta keep the furnace burning. You know. How are we gonna do that? Yeah. But yeah, so Virgil leads Dante past the tombs of Epicurious and his followers. Now, Epicurious, he was a Greek philosopher who did not believe in immortality or an afterlife, which I don't know why this strikes me as funny. I just imagine Epicurious in his tomb, arms folded like, well, don't I have egg on my face now?
But that's part of the point, right? That's part of the point of telling this story is to like warn people, right? Like, John Bunyan in his Pilgrim's Progress. I don't know if you've read that.
It must have been a long, long time ago.
Yeah, like that's part of it is like everyone is, as opposed to Dante's Inferno where everyone is like real people, actual people. He comes up with little archetypes for them. So there's Mr. Worldly Wise Man who is like, okay. Oh yes, I live my life perfectly fine. I'm great, but I haven't accepted Christ into my heart. So because Christ isn't real, and et cetera. And the whole point is that like the whole point of telling this story is like to warn you to not become Mr. Worldly Wise Man.
Right. Yeah.
So,
okay.
So Epicurious. Wait. Oh God. I keep saying You said Epicurious. I said Epicurious.
Yeah, I know, right? Epicurious.
Epicurious is the app named after Epicurious.
Oh, really? I didn't know there was an app.
Epicurious is an app that is it's like a recipe app. And then you tell it like, oh, these are the kind of things I'd like to try, and then it gives you recipes for it.
Wait, was Epicurious like related to food in some way?
An Epicurean is someone who follows the teachings of Epicurus, who then is like, yeah, we should be trying to explore the world, right? We should try to be like expanding our palates and the worldliness of it. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, so if you have an Epicurean palate, then you want to like try all the different foods and everything like that. Right?
Yes, exactly. I don't think he cared particularly about
food.
Yeah.
Right. He's not in the gluttony circle.
That's right. Yeah. But an Epicurean is someone who's like trying to, be skeptical about skeptical about the afterlife, and then like I don't know if they'd call themselves hedonists, but like their critics would call them hedonists. Like,
gotcha.
You're trying to explore and care about all this stuff on Earth.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Well, now he's locked in a burning tomb. He has become what he hates the most: a hot pocket.
But yeah, I do think it's interesting, right? That he. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it was just like I could have been tiramisu. I could have been. But no, I am a microwave dinner.
Yeah, a nice Italian ice would have been nice down here.
Yeah. But no.
Yeah. So he's one of these. He doesn't count as a noble pagan who gets to be in limbo, which is just kind of meh, because he actively campaigned against people caring about the afterlife.
Yeah. But yeah, so Dante and Virgil are walking, and Dante once again expresses a desire to see if he can recognize anyone in the tombs. And he asks Virgil if maybe he can sneak a peek. And it just like, because Dante is writing this, but he's characterizing himself as a little bit too, what's that word when you want to see your enemies punished? Like it's a little bit
vengeful.
Petty.
Oh yeah, petty. Yes, that's the
right?
word for it. Right. Yeah.
And it's like, I would think, like, if I'm writing I would be petty because I would write
you're
my enemies burning in hell, right?
Right.
But I wouldn't characterize myself, like the character of Lester, like being like, ooh, Virgil, can I, Mr. Stephen King, can I go and see like who's inside the tombs?
Right. Yeah, I would self-insert myself. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I wish I could save these people. I'm so good.
Yeah,
right. And I'm like, no, A.M. my guide would be like, no, Kynan, it's too late. They've made their choice. There's nothing you can do about that. Although you're so wise and beautiful. And
but all these people are just horrible pieces of shit. Right. And you'd be like, no, there's good in them. No. That's you, Kynan. You just see the good in everyone. Will you stop humping the fence?
No. and I going back to this, I prefer that you not call it humping. What I have invented here is beyond your limits of your imagination.
Oh God!
Yeah, but you'd be down there. You're like, oh, I loved you most of all, woman who cut me off in traffic at the 405 that one time.
Yeah. But yeah, it strikes me as funny that that Virgil that Dante is characterizing himself as a bit too overeager to peek into these tombs. And Virgil's response is a little bit strange here. He says he'll get his wish as well as his other secret wish, which I could not figure out. I was trying to figure out like what is Dante's secret wish, because I don't think it comes up.
I don't know. Does it come up in the other books that we didn't read? In Paradiso or something?
Possibly. Maybe that's what he's alluding to. Like, yeah, maybe Paradiso or Purgatorio.
We're just interested in the hell part.
Yeah. That's the what do they say? The devil has the best tunes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I assume it has something to do with Beatrice. Like, I don't know.
Possibly.
Like,
yeah.
Break up this heavenly matrimony between her and her husband, because you're so good. You're so good, Dante.
You're just so good. I mean, yeah. And you don't snore, and you don't sleep kick.
That's right.
No. And none of this. And he just starts listing off things like specifically in the negative, right? It doesn't matter what those guys say. You are tall, and you are the perfect weight for your height.
Right.
And
one eyelid being a little droopier than the other one, that's normal. That's natural. You wouldn't want to be perfectly symmetrical.
No, that's weird. I wouldn't want to be that. I'm jealous of you, Dante.
Right, you're right. And that your paunch really fills out this tunic, unlike mine. It just drapes there.
Yeah. It's like anything could be under here, but we know what's under your tunic, Dante? Character. Yeah. But yeah, okay. So as they're talking, they hear a voice from one of the tombs. This part is like where it starts to get like spooky and creepy for me, right?
Well, yeah, because this is like what we recognize as hell, right?
Yeah, right.
We don't, even though maybe the gluttony, sloth, shit river that would make sense like in the Greek version of hell, right? So we don't think about that all the time,
right?
So this is the kind that we're like, oh yes, I know this. This is scary stuff.
Yeah, burning alive, being buried alive. Voices coming from tombs. It's all coming together now. Yeah,
in graves that are so even if you like wanted to be cremated and have your urn on your children's mantle, you still recognize what a tomb is, as opposed to like the Greek version of a burial, which we don't recognize anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, so they hear this voice from one of the tombs, and they turn and they see someone rising up from the tomb that they just passed, and this person is calling out to Dante. And Virgil shoves him over, like, "Well, here's your wish, I guess." Is this what he's talking about? Like,
is the secret wish? No.
And he finds out like that this is this is Farinata. Right, he's a Ghibelline. Remember that was the family that Dante's family, the Guelphs, were or are, I guess, feuding against.
Right, that's the whole reason Dante got not excommunicated, exiled, from Florence,
And from the text here, it seems like they never knew each other in life. They both have this moment like oh, you're from the other family, so they must have never met before. In fact, I think Farinata is like he's a bigwig in the other family.
Okay.
He's one of the higher ups. And yeah, they speak civilly to each other. And it's this thing like, yeah, my family sure did some terrible things to your family. And Dante's like, yeah, and we sure did some horrible things back to you. And it's this long, very polite, philosophical conversation that Dante and this guy have. But folks, you have to remember that this guy is sitting up. His upper torso is poking out of a burning grave. And he's sitting there talking to Dante about the human condition like he's in a hot tub, is what's,
I mean, so I guess, you get used to it, but you're not supposed to be able to get used to it, right?
No, you're not supposed to.
That's the whole point.
That's always what I wondered is well, we must be able to get used to it. But no, I don't think that's the, I think that would completely destroy the purpose. So, yeah. But then, okay, so Kynan, midway through this conversation, another head pokes out of the same grave.
Right.
And this is Cavalcante de Cavalcante, the father of Dante's best friend, Guido Cavalcante. And he interrupts them to ask about his son Guido. And Dante tries to say that he doesn't know where Guido is, but in doing so, he refers to him in the past tense, leading this guy, Cavalcante, the father, to assume that his son is dead. At which point he despairs, he howls and he disappears back into the grave. And that's it. And the most notable thing about this, the first guy, right, Farinata, hot tub guy, he there's this pause, and then he continues talking as if they hadn't been interrupted.
Right. They don't have a good sense of time down there, I think.
Yeah, right. But to me, this is like the most disturbing thing about this passage. I don't know why, but it makes me think of amusement park animatronics who are programmed to do a thing like pop out of a grave or talk philosophy with you, but they're not aware of each other. It's like these two people, and it's funny, but it's also creepy. It's because it's that guy doesn't know that the other guy's in there with him, you know? And it's it's like I can hear his voice coming from far away, as if, just picking the conversation back up as if nothing had happened.
Oh, so they're all interacting with just Dante and not with each other.
Almost remember we were talking about with video game enemies, right? I imagine one video game monster doesn't it's programmed to just attack you. It's not going to talk to its buddy and be like, hey, we should gang up and we should use teamwork. It's just going to go after. It doesn't even know that the other ones exist. And to me, that it's dehumanizing in this your soul has been reduced to almost like a computer program.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, the one of the benefits of being in hell for me,
sure,
for all eternity, is you get to learn all these different people's lives and you get to talk to them and everything. But so you're saying in what we're presented here is that they don't do that. They don't get to chat and share tips and tricks, life hacks of how to be in hell with each other.
It's worse. It's worse than being locked in prison and being so what are you in for?
You'll get used to it, kid. You'll trade the cigarettes. Here's how the cigarette trade works, right?
Yeah. Just stay away from that fence over there.
But in prison, there's recipes that get for prison wine or prison tiramisu. Or you were talking about regular tiramisu earlier.
Yeah, right.
But prison tiramisu, where you get you hoard a Twinkie and you hoard this and that, and you turn it into a dessert that you save up a whole month.
Yeah,
and those are passed down. You don't the guards don't say that. The prisoners share that with each other.
Right.
How to make it more bearable. And so you don't have that.
No, it's everybody is because I guess, and I was listening to a scholar talk about this on YouTube, and he was talking about because everybody is by their nature they're so self-centered, and that's why they're here.
Oh,
that, being in hell, it's they don't notice anybody else.
Oh, yeah,
and that's oof, yeah.
So even when they get some respite and they're not actively burning in a tomb, now they're just half burning in half of a tomb.
Right.
They still can't see beyond themselves.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Dante's pretty deep guy, I guess. Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. But okay. But this specific relationship, Kynan, is all the more disturbing. So we're talking about how these two don't souls in this grave don't appear to know each other or even like realize that they're sharing this grave. Right. Which is disturbing by itself, but it's all the more disturbing because these two actually knew each other in real life, apparently. So Cavalcante's son Guido actually married Farinata's daughter.
Okay.
And now they share this burning grave for all eternity. You'd think they'd have something to talk about. Right?
Little busy here, Cavalcante. I'm burning up to my eyeballs today.
Right? It's just like, well, it's like, well, when are you free? Like, it's like, how about next week? Well, let me see. Burning alive in a tomb. No, I got it. No, that's burning alive in a tomb. Yeah, no, looks, I'm completely booked.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so scholars actually use this passage and it's an example of what Dante is trying to say about hell, right? In Dante's version, hell is not, in fact, other people, right? But it is one's own narrow field of vision.
Right.
But yeah, so at the end of this conversation, Dante asks Farinata to tell Cavalcante, the guy who disappeared back down, right? That his son Guido is not dead. And this canto ends again in a very weird place because it's almost like Farinata doesn't hear him or understand. It's like that guy that just popped up and asked if his son was alive, and I accidentally, made him think that he was dead. Can you please tell him, because you share the same grave, that he isn't dead? And Farinata's just like, huh? And it's just like, whoa, that I don't know, that creeps me out,
Yeah. Well, while you were looking, I mean, Guido was dead when they wrote the Divine Comedy, so Dante's like lying to him to be nice to him, I guess.
Or does he not know?
He doesn't know his friend is dead.
I don't know.
So Guido died in 1300, and then Dante is writing the Divine Comedy somewhere around 1308. That's where he starts it. Yeah, and then he finished in 1321. So so he knows.
Okay, so maybe he is trying to like be nice. To Cavalcante. Yeah.
That's sort of like who was Dante writing this for? Like other Florentines who would know Guido and know when he died, or who is this for? Is it just for himself? Like, what's the deal here? It's not for Beatrice because she's dead,
right? And even if she was alive, like it's like, hey, I wrote this. This is the weirdest love letter.
I wrote a classic of world literature for you.
Yes. Oh, I love Paradise Lost. Oh, well. Oh, burning alive in tombs. Wow, it's so romantic.
Right. So, is this a Romantic clef where the audience is supposed to know, like, what everything is, who all these people are and who they're standing for and everything? I mean, because certainly Guido is not as famous as Judas Iscariot or something like that, right? Yeah. So that's interesting to put him there. Yeah. But so I don't know. He is lying to Guido's father to say he's not dead.
Okay. Well, this brings up two things actually. So, I mean, firstly, to piggyback on what you just said about Dante, like who is he writing this for? Because we're going to see a lot of people that he meets that like the guy Chaco in Gluttony, Chaco the pig, right? Who I imagine he just he sounds like a mafia guy, right? Hey, I'm Chaco the pig, right? There's my friend Billy the Bull, and this is Chaco the Pig, right? But it's like nobody else knows who that is, Dante. This is like your fantasy of that guy, like you say, Kynan, like that guy who cut me off, And it's like, Chaco, there you are in hell, and it's like, and who's reading this, right? But I guess none of that matters because now we are celebrating him, and we're doing a podcast about him.
So he's writing it for us. He knew.
Yeah.
One a day.
Exorcist Minute.
Yeah. 2 chocolates, so we'll not be able to talk about a movie.
Yeah.
Then you talk about a Dante.
Yeah. Oh no, Virgil, they're covering the movie. We cannot. It's like, no. You just gotta wait. 2023 is gonna be really wild. How could they possibly not talk about the movie?
It's a movie podcast.
Divine providence.
Senora Virgil, I try so hard to give him them 5-star review, but the technology no worker from Paris. So, it's okay, Dante. You try your best. You're such a beautiful soul.
Yes. And for some reason, Virgil is speaking with an Italian accent.
Right. That's right.
I was gonna be like, wait, he feels bad because like it's like I gotta mirror Dante, right?
Right. No, that's his hell. I've been walking around doing that.
Yeah,
straining his voice.
Yeah,
and wearing out his wrists.
Yeah. I wrote the Aeneid with these hands.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's not even Dante's accent. He's just doing it for fun.
That's right. Yeah, but yeah, our version of the Inferno is like our town, and it's just the two of them up there, and they're like, they don't understand how important the 5-star review is, do they? No, they don't, Dante. They don't. So they just stare out at the audience, and the lights go slowly down.
It's good because we didn't have a character voice for Dante before this, so we need one. Yeah.
All right, before we get any letters. Before we get any letters, Dante spoke a version of Italian that does not that accent does not reflect. The Italian language as we know it today was not really invented until the 1800s as a way to unite all the different city-states that had their own version of Latin Italian. So we know that. We know that.
We know. But that would not be as fun. But yeah, so this canto ends again in a really weird place. They leave the graveyard and walk further into the city, going down into a valley where they encounter a putrid stench. And that's it. That's how the canto ends. All right, so now we're in Canto 11, still in Circle 6. 6. This one's getting a lot of time, but not for long. Like we're about to leave this circle and go into the next one, right? So they are at the edge of this deep valley, and the horrible smell is getting stronger and stronger. And so Virgil suggests that they actually slow down, even like take a break and have a sit down so that they can get used to the smell.
Oh yeah, they become nose blind. I see.
Yeah, I would think you would want to go through this valley as fast as you can.
That's what I would do.
But this is, philosopher poet logic, I guess. So, but yeah, so as they're sitting at the edge of this ravine, Virgil describes the last 3 circles of hell to Dante, which themselves are separated into smaller rings now. So the 7th circle is for violence, but it is further divided into those violent against others, those violent against themselves, and those violent against God. And then we get the 8th circle, that's fraud, reserved for the hypocrites, liars, and flatterers, and betrayers of trust. And then the 9th circle is treachery for those who have betrayed their family, their country, their guests, or their benefactors. And this is all being explained to Dante as they're sitting, right, kind of, trying to become nose blind to this stench. And Virgil explains that these are the sins that anger God the most, right? The betrayal of trust, right?
So unlike the previous 6 where Virgil is not warning, he's like, let's go in there, you'll see.
Yeah,
right. Like, these are the big ones. So he's like, we gotta have a little sit down.
I gotta give you a little like preview.
Right.
Yeah. This canto is also where Virgil takes the time to explain to Dante that the further down they go, the worse the sins are and the worse the punishments get, which I feel like we're so used to by now that this almost seems redundant, right?
Right.
But we got to remember, folks, that in this story, Virgil hasn't explained this to Dante yet. But at the same time, Kynan, I almost don't understand how this is not just understood. Like it almost feels like something that doesn't need to be said. Like, I mean, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. The epic poems or epic sagas that we had before don't really follow that rising action structure all the time. So
that's true. Yeah.
Beowulf isn't like that. The scariest, it ends with the dragon and plucking the dragon's heart out, etc. Yeah. But, but the Grendel is much scarier than
everybody remembers Grendel.
Oh yeah. And then So that's not structured. If you had a rewrite, you would rewrite that. And Gilgamesh goes on for a long time, and I don't know. And then King Arthur tales would have been from before this or not. Those don't really have that rising action either.
Right. It is kind of like this horizontal and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, but then this happened, and it's like Huh. And then, like, I mean, we were talking about like the narrative structure of the Bible itself, right?
Oh yeah,
like just being like there are whole chapters, whole chunks where it's just a list of names or just like historical. It's almost like somebody's like noting it down like as a recorder of just like a book of records. It's like, and then somebody came in and bought 3 fish, and then it's like,
yeah. But even like Leviticus, you read it and it is one of these lists of things, that lists of like rules, etc. But then at the very end, it's like, okay, and then the Israelites made a choice, and now they're going to go and do this. So like there's narrative sort of right at the end of it. So if you, pardon me, if you're reading the Jewish Bible in terms of narrative, right, and you're like, oh, this is like a list of things, I'm going to skip this, you actually miss a plot point.
Yeah. Huh.
Right at the end.
Wow. Dang. Okay. Yeah. It like, I guess so this kind of explanation by Virgil was necessary then.
Right.
Huh. Okay. Well, thank you, Kynan. Virgil's doing the tutorial.
That's right.
We got Inferno, Purgatorio, Tutorial. So yeah, I guess that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Kynan. But okay, so while we're here, right, since Virgil and Dante are taking a little rest, I think this is the perfect time to talk about our Circle 6 right here,
All
because
right.
we're about to leave Circle 6, the Circle of Heresy. So it's that time again. Kynan Allighieri, what's going on in your Circle 6?
Right. So, again, I'm not somebody with faith, so I'm not necessarily as concerned as people in Dante's time with like, oh, you're sort of our faith, but not quite. Like you're so close yet so far away, and that's why. But I will tell you who I
you dirty Guelphs. Oh no, wait, that's Dante.
No, it's the other side.
You Ghibellines.
Right. Well, it is like big enders and little enders, right? Like in do you know that from Gulliver's Travels?
Oh no.
Oh, this is.
I know about the Lilliputians. Yeah.
Oh, sure. You're a casual, we would say.
Yeah, I'm a.
Oh, great! You know about the Lilliputians, yeah.
He goes to a place with like lots of little people, right?
Yeah, well, he goes to a lot of places, and then there's one of them.
Oh, Gulliver's Travels, right?
Right, it's not the first one. Anyways, there's like Laputa, which is the like from Miyazaki's Castle in the Sky, like Laputa.
Oh yeah, right,
right,
yeah. Oh, uh-huh.
So anyways, it's so and he goes all over the place. There's a floating world and everything, and then so there's a world where people are there's like something like 1,000-year war. So, it's like 100 years war. Big long European style war. And then Gulliver's like, oh, so what's this war about? Is it about something major? Is it about something big? It's like no. Well, it is very big to them, but they they're at war with people who break their boiled eggs at breakfast with the little end of the spoon. Where in their country they break the egg shell at breakfast with the big end of the spoon. So they've been at war forever and ever and ever because of that.
Wow, Kynan, how silly. We would never do anything like that in real life. This writer is just being silly right here. Like he's not making a commentary or anything.
That's Swift for you. Yeah. So anyways, so heresy is a tough one for me, but I will tell you who I'm not a fan of are like these mega church pastors, but I don't know what you would call them. Like a mega church, which is just like a big church. That's not bad by itself, but like these ones who are like the televangelists to the extreme, right? And they're on TV and they're just soliciting all this money, and then like people are like, why do you have a private jet, right? And it's like, oh well, God came and told me that I need a private jet, right?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So that I think is heretical and in maybe the worst ways possible, right?
Like specifically, like they always caution us against he's like, oh, don't take the Lord's name in vain. And like when I was growing up, I thought it was like, oh, that's like saying goddamn or something like that. But like literally using his words and his message for your own benefit or to like hurt other people. Yeah, that's heretical, I would say. Yeah.
Oh, I would say so. Yeah, I think that's what the real meaning of that is, of taking the Lord's name. And like, so God told me I need a private jet, and that's how to serve you all. And I can't fly even on first class in a regular airplane. I need my own private jet, right?
Okay, I'm excited. How are these people getting punished?
Yeah. Well, I think it's because we have the powers of the universe, right? So we can do anything we want. So all of their conversations with God are tape recorded. and they're public domain, so you can hear exactly what God has said to them and what He hasn't. So you could fact check their conversations with God.
I love that. That is great, right?
Great.
Say, will you play that back?
Right. Fly.
No,
coach.
you cannot have it.
Right.
Oh.
If you need extra security because you're so famous, first class will suffice. Right.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That is perfect, Kynan.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I did a quote from God without doing it the way he would actually.
Oh,
do
no.
It. So no, he would say, "First class will suffice. I am the Lord."
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's how he says it. Yes,
we got it. Yeah,
don't want to misquote the Lord.
He's so far away. He's got to shout. You know.
I am the Lord.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. So for my circle 6, I'm gonna stick with my pun that I made before and say that this heresy circle is for hearsay.
All right. Yeah.
This is for the spreaders of misinformation. And actually, Kynan, like ours are pretty similar. Because the way that my guys are punished. And these are the ones who are like, it's like, I did my research, right? You know, it's, they looked on like, you know, some wildly like biased, you know, website or, you know, news source or whatever.
Or
right?
they listen to a stupid comedy podcast and
right. Some, you know, that's just like spitting misinformation all over the place, right? You know, and trusting them, right? Well, you know, it's not, you know, because they're specifically saying trust us with like, we are doctors, we are experts, we are biblical scholars and stuff. Like, no, we're not any of that. No. But yeah, so the way that these guys are getting punished, right? These hearsayers, right? Is they have to admit online to the whole world that they were wrong, which to them is like going to be the worst punishment of all because like it's a huge blow to their egos, right? Yeah. So I like that. And it's going to be just like on playback in this circle. It's just like, I was wrong. I was I apologize. Right. Yeah. On loudspeakers and big screens.
Right. Hey, guys. Yeah, it's like a 5-part apology videos, right? Hey, guys, I've hurt so many people. I'm so sorry.
All right. Okay, so now we're in Canto 12, and that opens up with our dynamic duo entering the 7th circle. Finally, we're out of that. I'm not even going to say it. We're out of that other circle that comes before 7. Because I'm done with that joke. Yeah, so we're in the 7th circle, and they come across what appears to be like a landslide or a hill of earth and rubble. And Dante actually compares this to this huge earthquake that he had experienced in the city of Trent when he was back on Earth. And this rock slide sort of like forms this jagged path, at the bottom of which is a Minotaur.
Yeah, I was waiting for that thing.
We've gotten harpies, we've gotten Medusa, we've got all these guys, now we got the Minotaur, right? In this circle, very, very appropriate, right? But Kynan, how is that not the first thing in this canto? Like there's 4 stanzas before he notices the Minotaur, and I just imagine Dante looking at this hill of rubble, and he's like, yes, the devastation, it calls to mind the ruins of Trent, a once mighty city, and over there we see the jagged pile of rubble symbolic of, holy shit, that's a cowman! Like he's just standing there, right? Cowman?
He's cowman.
Cowboy, right? And he hitches his thumbs into his non-belt because he's not wearing any pants.
They hadn't invented belts yet.
Yeah, right. He's like, y'all better just get. But Virgil is like, nah, you get, right? No. Actually, so he taunts the Minotaur,
right?
Saying like, oh, maybe you think the Duke of Athens has returned to kill you in the world above. And then he says something about the Minotaur's sister. And then he says, nah, we only came down here to witness your punishment. And this insult like strikes the Minotaur like a blow. He's like, whoa. And like he staggers and Virgil's like, run. And they run past him. And that's it. And I was waiting for like he's taunting a bull. I was waiting for the Minotaur to be like, and to like start like like digging his feet into the earth and like charge like he would like a matador, right? and then they run, But no, it just he disses him, right. Even though they're no longer in the city of Dis. And he's just like, whoa, right? And he gets that, it's the little Tweety bird up on top of his, the little bird circling right above his head. He's like, yeah. And they run past him. But actually, before we pass this cowboy, I want to talk about him a bit more.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Because you were like it was like finally when we see this guy, right?
Yeah.
So what are you feeling about this?
Well, we saw his master.
Yes.
In
okay.
the
Thank
very
you.
beginning of this whole hell thing. It is King Minos, right?
Of this whole hell thing by Dante Alighieri.
Right. He's the sorting hat of this world, King Minos.
Yeah.
And I've just been waiting
Better
for
be lust.
just waiting for this Minotaur to show up. Why is the Minotaur down here?
I don't know. Well, I
don't think the Minotaur belongs in his own circle of hell because the Minotaur was created specifically to execute Minos' violence. This isn't fair. That he's not a wicked soul.
So you think Minos should be down here?
Well, I get this. Okay, you put him at the top because he's got that cool tail.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, why isn't he?
He's sitting in the interview room and he's like, so what are your skills? It's like, I got a tail. It's like, all right, well,
I'm real judgy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay, judgy.
Yeah. So I don't get why he's here and not up with his master.
Yeah.
I don't get why. Why he's down there and doesn't do any Minotaur-y things.
Yeah. Minotaurial duties.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I want to meet his sister. So Dante says, "Get away, you beast! For this man does not come tutored by your sister."
I'm.
So, what is his sister? What does the Minotaur's sister tutor men in?
You know what? This was something that I was like, Lester, you need to look into this because you need to know all corners of Dante's Inferno. And I was like, nah, we're just gonna run past this the way that Dante and Virgil run past the Minotaur. But then my co-host asked me a question.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking Dante.
Oh, okay.
What is this?
Yeah, Dante. What the hell? I think. I imagine the story of the Minotaur says something about his sister. Something.
All right. Let me try to remember here. Hold on.
Yeah.
So the Minotaur's sister is. I don't know if this is his sister. It's his half sister, which sometimes back then people don't count. As a half sister, but the half sister is Ariadne, which I don't remember from this.
Okay.
So Ariadne is the young woman who solves the labyrinth by putting string out, and doing all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that was his sister.
Mm.
But so what does that mean? Let me look at this again. So if it's Ariadne, get away, you beast! For this man, presumably myself, does not come tutored by your sister. He comes to view your punishments.
Oh, it's like because well, who was the guy who slew the Minotaur? It was one of those Esiuses, right? It was Perseus or Theseus
that's what I was going to say.
or
both of them.
Bugius or wait, hang on. I'm going to remember too. Minotaur. Theseus. Okay, Theseus. It was Theseus, right?
He built the ship.
So, yes, right. Yeah, that was the ship. Well, is it really his ship anymore? I mean,
we hardly recognize
we
it
talked
anymore.
about. Oh my God, we have lost Kynan. We have lost all credit here down in hell.
It's
literally
dark
talked
down
about
here.
the ship of Theseus. Yeah, it is.
All right, but this is all related to each other. Okay, so Theseus,
yes, no, it is.
Who builds his ship and then kills the Minotaur in some order.
Yes.
I don't know,
but no. I think what I'm saying, what's going on isn't in the story of the Minotaur, isn't it? So didn't he solve the labyrinth with the help of the trick? Yeah, yes, right.
Uh-huh.
So that's what Virgil is saying. It's like Dante isn't here, with help from your sister, with tutelage, because like she taught him how to solve the maze puzzle.
Right.
Right. So that's what he's saying. Like he's basically just doing a callback. I don't know how this like insults. I don't know how this makes the Minotaur mad or sad. He's just referencing the story that he's in. He's saying no, Dante isn't Theseus, who was tutored by your sister.
Remember how your sister, got with Theseus in order to kill you.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
Oh, maybe that. Yeah. Right. Hey, yeah, this guy didn't screw your sister. He just wants to. What?
Do you know what she did?
Do you know what she did?
You cunting sister.
But yeah.
All right, great.
But yeah, okay. So that's the appearance of the Minotaur here, folks. Like I actually don't know why we didn't bring this up earlier, but like it's interesting to me how we have a mixture of history, like we have actual historical figures, right? Like Caesar and Virgil and Homer and Plato, right? And Minos, right? We have King Minos down here as a judge, but he is like what the Apocryphals, that other podcast, they would call him Robin Hood real, which I really like that. Like so they have two types of historical real. They have Caesar real, which means the guy actually existed. There's records like he was actually one person, right? And then there's Robin Hood real, which is like he might have existed. Maybe he's an amalgamation of a bunch of different real people, or maybe he's just a legend. But certainly his legend is bigger than the actual guy. And that's Robin Hood real. So King Minos is Robin Hood real. We don't know for sure like if he really existed, right? And most of the stuff that we know about him comes from the legends. Right. But then I just find it interesting that so we got King Minos in one circle, like you say, Kynan, and we also got the Minotaur in another circle. And then similarly, we got like Greek and Roman philosophers and Caesar in one circle. And then we also so those are real, but then we also got Medusa and Cerberus, right? So like it's this mixture of reality and mythology from all these different cultures. But it's like they're all like the historically real people are existing in the same place as their gods and their monsters.
And Dante are making an assumption to think that Dante knows the difference. I mean, he was an educated person. He knows.
Oh no, of course he knows the difference,
right? Okay, great. Yeah. So he's doing this on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, like it's and okay, like even more meta, we have Virgil, who is a writer himself, but was also a character in his buddy Lucan's story. Right, like Lucan, whom he hangs out with in the first circle of hell in Limbo. Right, and sometimes Virgil, like this Virgil, makes reference to himself as the writer. Right, like I'm the writer of the Aeneid. Right, and then sometimes as the character, like I'm the character in Lucan's story.
He has memories of that story.
Right, but then this Virgil is like a third Virgil because he is Dante's Virgil. And when people make a joke about this, like oh, I need a Virgil to guide me through this hell, right?
What people make that joke?
Nerds, Kynan, like myself, okay? When we make that joke, we're talking about this Virgil, right? Dante's Virgil.
Oh,
right?
yeah, right. So, this is more famous than Virgil himself, right?
So crazy to me, right? Like the most famous like aspect of Virgil is him playing himself in Dante's story, right? Yeah. So yeah, this is the most famous Virgil, right? Because I didn't read the Aeneid. I just lied and got 100%. No.
Make them play about it.
Yeah. So this is the Aeneid, right? Yeah. Oh, Mr. Aeneid. It's like, why is he doing an Italian accent? It's like, oh no. Yeah.
This accent not invented yet.
No. But yeah, okay, and then the meta of metas, we got Dante himself, of course, like being a character in his own thing here, right? But no, I just find this like blending and blurring of the lines of reality and fiction, like even within this work of fiction, to be like really interesting. It's like, oh, wait, the real Virgil, the writer of the Aeneid, is taunting the Minotaur,
The Minotaur,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, right? It'd be like Stephen King taunting Dracula.
Now, he is not above that. Stephen King putting himself into a Dracula story.
Right.
So Stephen King does do that. And Stephen King puts himself in books. So you have a pretty good chance if you're reading a Stephen King novel right now that Stephen King is a character in it.
And we're talking, like, folks, you might be thinking, like, people who are not familiar with Stephen King, you might be thinking, there's a good chance that Stephen King might be, like, a self-insert, like the main character is a writer. No, I'm talking about, like, there are books, and I'm not going to give away which ones.
I don't want to spoil things.
Yeah,
but
where
you might be reading
Stephen King
one right now.
shows up
yes.
and talks to like one of his creations. Yeah, it's like, if you haven't read that story, then that's a fun one. Yeah. Like the characters literally go to Maine, go to Stephen King's house, and he's there. Yeah. Okay. So all that said, this is something that we are seeing in each circle, right? Is this roll call of historical and or fictional and or personal figures, people whom Dante has known or has had cause to know during his time in Italy, right? They run past this Minotaur.
Yeah, that seems like a letdown.
I know,
but that's part of why I was saying that. Like this version of hell, like it's trying to show you all these different fears you could have potentially. Like you're afraid of the Minotaur, right? You read the Legend of the Minotaur. That's fucking scary. You read the Legend of the Argonauts, and there's Medusa. That's fucking scary. You know. So it is like everything that you're afraid of is down here somewhere.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they're all in their like respective circles, right?
Right.
And
that's the part that doesn't quite work with that theory of like everything's down here because you might not see the Minotaur. Like if you're the most afraid of the Minotaur, he might not be in your circle. He's in the violent circle.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. This is folks. Again, yeah. This is the circle of violence, right? But what if what if you're in the circle of gluttony and your biggest fear is the Minotaur?
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry, should have said differently.
Right. What if your circle is lust and you're just like really into cowboys and.
Sorry, Sharon.
Yeah, and you're just like, aw. Cowmen and horsemen and right. Yeah. Oh no, Kynan. There is a circle for Sharon. Don't you worry.
Oh, good.
Yeah, full of horsemans. Yeah, but no, she wouldn't be down there. She's so nice. Yeah.
No, she's so nice.
Yeah, right. And I'm sure the horseman is also nice. I'm sure he's not like this Minotaur.
No, he teaches Reagan about riding.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He's very nice.
Right. But yeah, so they run past this Minotaur, and they reach a boiling river of blood. And Virgil says this is where the violent are punished. And now that is Kynan, that is antipasto right there. Right?
The contrapasso.
Got it. Nailed it. Perfect. Yeah. But like this one, more than any other so far, I feel like this is the perfect like poetically just punishment, right? Like you spilled blood in life and you're being boiled in it in death, right? Like you know, and Virgil further explains that like depending on how violent the people are, that's how like submerged they are, right? So you got people in there, you know, from the waist down. You got people, up to their knees, right? But then you got people up to their ears in blood, right? And yeah, okay. So like speaking of mythology, right? Mixing in here, like we got centaurs in the circle. Speaking of Sharon, right? We got some horsemen here, and they're sort of like patrolling the edges and looking out for any soul who are either trying to like rise too far above the surface or to climb up onto the shore. And if they see anyone, they shoot them with bows and arrows. Right. And then you fall back into them. Yeah, like good cowboys, right? Good horse boys. Yeah. Yeah, and of course, these centaurs see our boys, and they're like, whoa, which is weird for centaurs to say. Whoa, right? But they're like, hey, buddy, you can't be coming in here all alive, right? And they're about to shoot our boys, but Virgil's like, I'm not answering anyone but Chiron. So Chiron is a famous centaur, famously unique, right? Like he's usually depicted as the quote wisest and kindest centaur, right?
Aww.
Which is opposite of how like centaurs are normally depicted in these myths, right? They're usually like pretty rowdy and uncouth, right? But Chiron.
So why is he in hell?
He's a centaur. Look at him. He's got animal parts and he's got people parts.
So it doesn't matter what's in here. It just matters what's out here.
Yes. The outside is what counts, Kynan.
Just imagine what part of the horse I pointed into there.
Yeah. We can imagine. Yeah. Show us on this drawing where... No. Show us on the fence where... No!
No, it's my fence.
But so Chiron is different from these other centaurs, right? He's a musician, he's a poet, he is a doctor, which I guess makes him the centaur for disease control.
Do we have a sound effect for that kind of joke?
What would that sound effect be?
Either a rim shot or crickets or both, maybe.
Right. Where's the circle for dad joke tellers? That's right. Their punishment is they just got to listen to each other.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, so he tells this other centaur, it's like, nah, we're not talking to you. Go bring us Chiron. This is Virgil. Virgil says that, right? And then, like, as this other centaur goes away, he whispers to Dante, it's like, that's Nessus. And I don't know why, but no, you laugh, I laugh. Like,
right.
They're basically, he tells the story of Nessus, which is, that Nessus tried to abduct Hercules. This isn't the funny part.
No.
But like, it's just, again, with this like oh, that's the famous, that's Medusa, that's this, that's that, like he's pointing out like all these mythological creatures whom, the readers would be very, very familiar with, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He's also like talking shit right at him. Right?
Yeah.
He's like,
that's I can hear you.
Yeah.
Wait. Whoa, I can hear you. Yeah. Yeah, talking behind his flanks.
You're right, exactly. He's talking mad shit down there.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so okay, like the story of Nessus. Yeah, right. So early readers know this, right? We might not be as familiar, but yeah, basically Nessus is a centaur that tried to abduct Hercules' wife. He got killed by Hercules, but then somehow, like as he's dying, he convinces Hercules' wife that like his blood mixed with the blood of the Hydra can create a potion to keep Hercules from cheating on her. And so she saves his bloody centaur shirt. And he gives it to Hercules, I think when he's like about to fight the Hydra, to splash the blood on, but like the poison blood is actually so painful that Hercules has to be like cremated alive to get rid of it. Because he's, like half god, right?
Right.
Greek mythology, people. That's that, right? But that's Nessus, right? I just imagine that's Virgil. He said he does that really loud whisper, right? It's like that's Nessus. But yeah, and then as Chiron's coming up, and over here is Chiron, right? But yeah, so Chiron shows up, and Virgil explains that they're he literally says it's like it is not what is it? It's like it's not pleasure that drives us, but need, right? So he's basically saying like we're here on business, not pleasure, right?
Right, exactly. And I'll have the fish, and he'll have the chicken.
Yeah, right. Dante tries to speak up, but Virgil's like, no, he will have the chicken.
He will have the chicken boiled in blood up to its ears.
Yes. And actually, yeah, could one of Chiron's soldiers be so kind as to carry Dante on his back as they travel through the story? This is the actual. We're not joking anymore.
Right,
this is,
right.
Yeah. So
who does Chiron pick?
Chiron pick Nessus.
Right.
Virgil loudly whispers to Chiron, I think it should be Nessus.
And then they're on Nessus's back and constantly like, yeah, so Nessus was stupid enough and dumb enough to abduct the wife of Hercules.
Wow. I already knew that. Everybody knows the story of Nessus. Except in the, the 21st century, which is, is going to be confusing to some people. But,
right.
But of course, we all know this one. Yeah. Nessus is like, oh. So Nessus is escorting them, and he's, we get the, he's doing his part. He's doing the obligatory roll call of the historical figures as he points out all the sinners.
Well, he's just trying to drown out their shit talking on it, literally on its back. So on your right, you can see Alexander the Great.
That was so stupid what Nessus did.
And on your left, we have a pool of blood that was brought
quiet.
down by Earth to reflect the
I think
sins of
hear
the
us.
King of Syracuse.
Shh, quiet. No, I am being quiet. You be quiet, Dante.
Look, his ears are pointing backwards.
Yeah, that means that I think that means that he's angry.
I think that Nessus can hear us.
Yeah. Wait, let me test it. Nessus has a doo-doo head.
Oh, his ears are really twitching.
Yeah. Nessus, you wanna go for a walk?
What?
You wanna go outside? You wanna treat?
Whoa!
Stop it! Sugar cube. No. You've seen that? You've seen like owners doing that to their dogs. It's
yeah.
There's a walk, and then just the dogs like get all excited, right? Is it outside? Go see grandma, right?
Right.
Because they know who grandma is. Yeah.
Nessus, do you want to date an au pair?
Oh, Nessus, we're passing the your favorite spot by the fence.
No, then I suddenly appear. Which one of you fuckers talking about the fence?
It's my fence. This fence is oddly like ever present. It's just
Oh, yeah. After I'm done with it. Yeah.
And you're always just like, like the top of your head is always just like, what's that? That Kilroy, like, he kind of like
yes, Kilroy is here. Yeah, Kynan was here.
Yeah. Is still here.
Kynan is still here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, Nessus is pointing out all of the people who are down there, which is very useful in this circle of violence, right?
Of violence, right? And he points out all the sinners, and he mentions like Alexander and Dionysius, like he was a Greek tyrant who ruled the city of Syracuse, I think. In Sicily, during the 4th century BCE, not to be confused with Dionysus, god of wine and women and song.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I confuse them. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Dionysius. It's literally one letter that mixes it up. Yeah, but yeah, he points out Azolin and Obizo of Este. From what I can find, these seem to be like local rulers whom Dante associates with violence, but I could not find much else on either of these. Yeah. Okay, so now we are in Canto 13.
Yeah.
Canto 13, Circle 7. Point 2. Because remember, Circle 7 is divided into 3 smaller circles, right?
Right. This is where Dante really cares about. He spends his time in these 3 circles.
Oh, yeah, right? So the first one was violence against others, and then now we are in the circle for violence against oneself. And it turns out to be this dark, overcrowded forest full of these gnarled trees with gray leaves and poison thorns. And as they're walking, Dante can hear and also catch glimpses. This is really creepy. Like he can hear and catch glimpses of harpies, which are perched or nested inside the trees. And folks, like harpies are like, like these bird creatures with the heads of, I think it's like specifically women, right? Yeah, and it's just it's creepy.
And they're a little different from Furies, so I guess because we've seen Furies before, but these are harpies. Yeah,
we saw Furies in Dis, and now we see harpies in
Deer.
In Dare, right? Or yeah, in Dee's Woods. Yeah,
Dee's Woods.
Dee's Woods. We got there. Yeah. But yeah, so we got the Furies, in the trees, right? And
no, we have the harpies in the trees.
Oh, sorry, yeah, the
sorry.
Harpies,
by me trying to clarify, I've confused things.
It up. Yeah, harpies and Furies, right? Oh my. But yeah, and Virgil tells Dante to look around and pay close attention to what he's seeing and hearing. And Dante realizes that he can hear human voices lamenting, but he can see no one. Again, this is like the scariest circle so far. And Dante thinks there might be like people hiding amongst the trees, right? But Virgil's like, oh no, break off a branch from one of these trees. And so Dante does. And the tree cries out and says, "Why do you mangle me?" And it begins to bleed.
And Virgil's like, "Pretty sweet, huh?"
And Dante turns to him. It's like, I like you're already like well into the road trip with this guy, and now you're discovering what your friend is actually like, right?
right. It's like, couldn't you have just told me that the tree was sentient and bleeds, and not have me do
it? No. This is going to get you way more readers. This is how this happens. Yeah. No. Now you'll never do that again, will you?
Right,
well,
right.
no.
Well, no.
I wouldn't have done that to begin with. But yeah, this is the creepiest thing. And it begins to bleed, and Virgil asks the tree to tell Dante who he was. And the tree answers that he was Pierre de la Vigne. And now, Pierre de la Vigne was a notable figure in the court of Emperor Frederick II and served as his chancellor. However, he fell out of favor and was unjustly accused of treason, which led to his imprisonment and eventual suicide by banging his head against the walls of his cell. So in Dante's story, for the sin of suicide, he and the rest of the inhabitants of this forest, because that's what all of these trees are. They're former people who committed suicide and are turned into trees, right? So now it's interesting here that Dante has Pierre de la Vigne go on to tell his story and then say at the end, "Though I had always been just, I was unjust to myself." And we get the sense that this is someone that like Dante respects and feels pity for. And then the tree falls silent, right? And again, it's that weird, like we were talking to the guy, the guy in the hot tub grave, right?
Right.
And he does his little spiel, and then it's almost like he turns off.
Right.
And I don't know why. I still can't figure out like how to verbalize why that like scares me, but it's like his batteries have run out or something like that, and
he's completed his programming.
Yes, right. Yeah. It's like, yeah. It's almost like he's not even conscious of anything else, right?
Right.
However, Virgil presses Dante to ask it more questions. But like Dante
Virgil's a shit stirrer in this circle here.
Yeah, he is a little bit sadistic in this.
Like,
right? He's like,
see what happens when you kick it a little.
Yeah, right. Like he's like, go break off a limb from that tree, and like even though it seems like it's in pain, telling you its story, ask it more questions.
Yeah,
right?
Ask him why he killed himself.
Yeah,
right.
Jesus, kick him. Virgil. Yeah, God. But yeah, so he wants him to ask him more, but like Dante doesn't want to. Like he's so broken up with pity. But so Virgil asks the tree to explain what happens in this circle. So I guess he's doing it, like for Dante's benefit. He's trying to this is he's being a teacher or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. Whatever gets you out of bed in the morning, Virgil.
Sure. Yeah, Virgil. Come on. But he asks him to explain the circle and also like if the souls in this circle will ever get out. Right. So Pierre de la Vigne. He says that when they get to hell, they start out as a seed and then they grow into the tree. This is after Minos has judged them, sends them to this circle, and they start out as this little seedling and then they grow into the tree, right? And then the harpies live in them and like bite them and scratch them and feed on their leaves as like additional punishment. And apparently, according to Pierre de la Vigne, on the day of judgment, when the souls are finally reunited with their bodies, right, these trees will not be allowed to inhabit their bodies because they cannot have what they themselves have forsaken, right?
Right. They have violence against themselves. So
right. Yeah. So unlike the rest of the souls in hell, who I guess they get their bodies back and then suffer the same punishment as before, right? So Hot Tub Guy is going to have like an even hotter time once he gets his body back, right? Yeah. But yeah, for these trees, right, they have to hang their bodies on the trees that they have become.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So like of all the circles, this is like the darkest one that we have come across, I think.
So they get reminded of what they have sacrificed.
When
they're sinning. Yeah, and this is so Dante is both reflecting the morality of his time, but then also creating the morality of future times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the idea of like Dante is saying like committing suicide, which is a term that people today are trying to move away from. Have you heard about this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like suicide as a sin, even in secular society. So even that term, like he tried to commit suicide and how hurtful that can be, right? Because like when you have someone who survives a suicide attempt and you talk about he tried to commit suicide or this person committed suicide, the act of suicide itself becomes this, sinful, like shameful thing rather than like the symptom of mental illness or symptom of despair. Right. So they're trying to move
this
away
person
from
was
that.
Already suffering and now you're gonna like heap that on top of them as well. It's
right.
Like,
exactly.
You tried, like you should feel that.
Yeah, you were committing this sin. Yeah, even if they're a secular person, so they're trying to take that phrasing out of it, right?
Right. So that because it's not helping at all. No.
Yeah, and then in one of my classes where we're dealing with Japanese, we're talking about ritual suicide like seppuku, which in the West, I'm not quite sure why it became harikiri or harikari. Do you know the history of that at all?
Right. Yeah, and people say harikari because it sounds like harikari. Yeah. It's harakiri.
Harakiri, but seppuku is the more correct term. Yeah.
Well, I think there's like a what do you call it? Like a square rectangle thing going on there.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Like one of them is an umbrella term for. And one of them is like specific.
Right. Well, I heard one, a different podcaster, my favorite podcast is called Stuff You Should Know. And they were talking as a tangent, because they do tangents. They were talking about they were talking about the suicide forest in Japan. And they were talking about like in the West, because we know of these ritual suicides, and because the Japanese don't have the same concept of sin as us, sometimes from the outside we can think like, oh, they don't care about suicide. But actually, no. Like it hurts their family, their friends, it hurts their society, etc. Right. But they just they haven't attached it as we have in the West with this idea of like that act in and of itself is this sin that needs to be punished. Where we are now, like in the third highest circle of hell, because you had a mental illness or you were going through despair.
Yeah.
But yeah, just talking about it, like in Christian morality, suicide has been a sin, and that's one of the ones that people who help people, like counselors and psychiatrists and therapists and social workers, are like, that is one of the most hurtful things we have done within this like framing of hell, is to think of that as a sin.
Yeah, and it's like you can kind of see like what they were trying. They were trying to deter people from doing.
They're trying to
right?
save lives, right?
Yeah, they're trying to save lives, and which is what modern doctors and and modern people are trying to do here, right? Like nobody wants this to be a thing, but the scare tactics of the old times are are more hurtful than they than I guess the people who invented it imagined.
And lucky for us, that's the only time that Catholic scare tactics have backfired in a way that has hurt real people.
Right. That's never happened again. Or before or since.
Before or since, right?
No. Not on this. Let us be the first on this episode, the 7th installment of the History of the Devil, right? Never before has Catholic doctrine caused any negativity.
Right, any negativity whatsoever, yes.
In the world. Yeah. But yeah. But like a really, really heavy subject. Yeah.
And, yeah, he's spending all this time like the top 3 are kind of like top 3 circles, or top 4, I guess, kind of funny.
Yeah.
Limbo, Lust,
it's kind of like
funny.
You're watching and it's like you get what you get, right? It's like you have this almost like, and I imagine Dante have like going through these first couple circles like with this like almost like this self-satisfied smirk on his face. He's like, nah, well, I'm glad I'm not a glutton. I'm glad I'm not a
Yeah, but once you get to the anger, sloth, river of shit, and then the burning tombs, we're getting real serious here.
It's getting a little bit of it's getting a little heavy. Yeah. But yeah, and then this one like Dante's actually moved to pity, right? Like he feels really, really bad for these people, right? So like now as they're talking to this tree, Pierre de la Vigne, they get interrupted by a bunch of souls who are not trapped in trees. And they're running through this forest being chased by wild animals. I think it's wolves. And they're begging for death. And scholars argue about what this is. It's like, why are they like if they are people who also killed themselves, why why are they not trees? Like what's going on here, right?
Right, but you just brought up something I hadn't thought when I was reading it. Why are they begging for death if they're in hell? They're already dead.
Right. That's another thing, right? Like, are they're do they not understand, or do they like? Is it just the idea that death will stop the pain? They think,
but they're already dead.
I know.
Or they're just maybe. Oh, like you're saying, like they're just used to. That's just something that you would say, I guess.
Yeah, that's an idea that like like I just want to be done.
Yeah. I gotcha. Okay.
So yeah. I mean, yeah. But and some scholars are saying like maybe this could be people who see, and this is tough too. Like I don't want to believe that this is what Dante was going for, but he's some scholars are saying that possibly this is people who joined the army, and it's like after like kind of like being washed up and having nothing else, like they squandered their money or something like that, and then they joined the army, and put themselves in danger in that way and died. So these scholars who are interpreting these like non-tree people in this circle are saying that by signing up for the military, you are like sort of killing yourself.
Oh, I see. Let me see if this time frame works on this 13th and 14th century. Yeah, okay. So that might align with this history. That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that. But that might actually align with something that was going on during the century before Dante was writing, where you would have Italian mercenaries happening. Like Italian mercenaries became incredibly famous, and they would like form these companies and then go all across Europe to be soldiers of fortune, right? And this was a relatively new idea. So I wonder if that's what he was talking about. Later on, they'd be sort of called the condottiero. I don't know how to say this. The condottieri. So Condottiere. So that would be a little bit later than Dante's time where they get this term. But yeah, that was a new type of warfare that was happening in the 1200s and 1300s, where basically. You might, so if you're from Florence and Florence hadn't been at war for a couple hundred years, you would have to go and sell yourself as a mercenary in a mercenary company where you weren't fighting for your city state or your small nation. You were doing it for a living.
Oh, dang.
And you'd have to go and find other places who were engaged in wars. You'd go to Parma, or you'd go to Venice, and sell yourself in that way as a soldier.
Okay, so I can see that. Yeah, scholars are saying that that's what these people are, because they're
That'd
not
be
trees.
Interesting. Right. Because that was a new type of thing that had not happened before. It used to be that you would just get drafted by your king or your duke, right? And you would fight, and you'd be fighting for your people and your land. But this is a new type of thing. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Huh. So yeah. So these non-tree souls, right? They're running away from these wolves, and they dive into this thorn bush to like try to protect themselves. But like the wolves find them and tear them to pieces and then go on their way. And
so
I imagine,
do they die down there?
I don't.
So they're
going to die down there.
But they're begging for death and they're already dead. And then these wolves kill them?
I can't imagine that that's the end for them. It has to be like they get rejuvenated or something.
Oh, thank goodness. Or, I mean, oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah. A little Freudian slip there, yeah. Oh, Freud, I wonder if he's down. He's in the circle of lust for sure, right? Yeah. But like or these, after getting torn to pieces, they just, exist for the rest of eternity as a foot or something like that, So then, yeah, like the wolves leave, right, carrying away the pieces of these souls. But now Dante and Virgil can see and hear that this thorn bush is weeping and bleeding from all of these like pores and all of these lacerations. Right. And Kynan, I've seen like pictures of this thing.
Oh.
And like in all the pictures, it also has a face. It's the scariest thing.
I did not see that. Let me look.
Yeah. And so Virgil asks the bush to tell its story. And it explains that that he once lived in that city which exchanged. So this is the quote, right? Once lived in, quote, that city which exchanged its earlier patron for the Baptist, right? So he's talking about Florence, right? So this bush lived in Florence before it was Christianized, right? And the patron of Florence was Mars, the god of war, right? And the bush says that he hung himself back on Earth, but it's unclear like why, or if this bush is supposed to be referencing like a real person, or if his suicide was because of the transition from the old gods to the new, right? Like he asks, like I don't know. I couldn't find any more information on this bush. But it's just like the creepiest thing to me that it's like, I don't know why a bush is creepier than a tree, right? But maybe because it's bleeding. Well, no, the trees were bleeding too, right?
No, because it's not swole. You like swole trees.
Yeah, right. God, yeah, but but in any case, right? Like the bush asks Dante and Virgil to gather up the limbs of the trees that had been broken off by the souls that were running through the woods, being chased by the wolves, and to pile them at the base of the bush. And again, like, I don't know why he asks them to do that, right? It almost seems like a reverence thing. Like, it seems really sad to me, like this futile attempt at reverence or remembrance or something like that.
This reminds me, this circle or this subcircle reminds me a lot of like L. Frank Baum's work of like people being turned into furniture forever, and this is the sort of like sadness there that goes with that.
Yeah. It like, because that's your eternity now, right? Like you're an Ottoman, not an Ottoman. You know what I mean? Like, not the empire. The
right.
The footstool thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you're a tin man, and who knows how long you've been there, stuck there without an oil can coming along. You just watch people go, and
Yeah. It's just like that. Yeah. Oof. Dante's thinking of some pretty creative punishments.
He's dwelling a lot in these. Yeah, the more vindictive circles he spends, the more time.
Yeah. Hey. But yeah.
You okay, Dante?
Yeah, Dante.
You all right, girl?
Dante, you all right? Who hurt you, Dante? Well, no, actually, we know. We've seen and met all of them so far. We're gonna meet even more. Yeah. I think Dante's greatest enemy is Dante. Gotta love yourself, Dante. Yeah. Oh
wow! If he got down to that bottom circle, and instead of Satan encased in ice, it was just himself.
It was. We gotta redact this thing.
We got some notes for you, Dante.
Yeah,
we got some studio notes for you.
Much more, right? It's this big monstrous version of him, right? But it's all of his faces. Wow. I like
You're
that.
a three-faced son of a bitch, Dante Alighieri.
Right. And one of them's always cracking jokes, and one of them's always being like really petty and mean, and the other one's always was chewing on Judas Iscariot. I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, folks, that is Canto 13. And next we will explore Canto 14, still in Circle 7. This is the third subcircle reserved for those who have done violence against art, nature, and or God. But for now, I fear our time has run out. And that is all of my notes. Kynan, is there anything else?
Oh, yeah, you see the chair you're sitting on?
Yes, I see it.
Rip its arm off, see what happens.
What?
Yeah, rip it.
All right, co-host of mine, whom I trust. Ow! Oh my God! It's a person whom I definitely know, but I'm not going to name on this show.
Call him Pig.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I do call him. I mean, he knows who he is. I just ripped your arm off, Pig. Do you know what you did?
You know what you did. You know what the piglet did.
Now I sit on you while I podcast. Except now I only have one arm for this chair. This is I kind of shot myself in the foot here. Kind of hoisted by my own petard. But it was worth it. Pig. You hear that, Pig? It was me hitting my chair.
That's right.
That's definitely no, I mean that's definitely not a person. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Folks, this is all right. Well, that was great. Thanks, past Lester and Kynan. Well, folks, I have been Lester Ryan Clark, both in the past and in the present. You can summon me on all the socials as Lester Ryan Clark.
And I am immune to the bounds of time, and I've been Kynan Diaz, and you can invoke me on Instagram and Letterboxd at Howdy Kynan.
Yeah, find more of our shows and other really cool podcasts at True Story FM. Like us on Instagram and join our Facebook listener group, Dante's Ninth Circle Sushi and Karaoke Bar, or feel free to drop us a message at thedevilsdetails@gmail.com. Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? We're not even asking for your souls. Just give us a 5-pentagram rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to our show. That and sharing the show by word of mouth or on social media helps our little podcast grow and find more cool people like you. All right, folks. Until next week, love and hisses. Mwah!